Hello.
Hey, everybody.
Hi, Patrick. How are you?
Good. I'm really hyped up for tonight. I don't know why, but I'm really excited. Glad y'all could be here. Zoom icon is orange, and I don't see anything that make me think why it should be. Drive the OCD in me crazy. We'll be all right. We'll wait a little bit longer, and we're still a few minutes early. We'll catch some more people, and then we'll get started. Crowds aren't usually huge because I do Facebook Live and try to record it for Facebook, so people with their busy schedules or different schedules are able to see it. All right. A few more minutes. Got a few stragglers. There always is a few. All right. I guess I'll go ahead and get rolling. Um, Thank y'all so much for being here tonight. I really do appreciate it. Um, just to kind of get things started, I try to record all of my Zooms, not so much for quality assurance, just so I have them available on YouTube for people to watch later on who couldn't be here tonight. And we're also on Facebook Live. Like I said a minute ago, we're basically trying to catch people with busy schedules, different time zones, just trying to catch everybody and anybody who wants to watch the content later on who isn't here this evening. So if you don't want to have your video on, that's fine. Um, it doesn't always have to be the Patrick Show. So if you have any questions or comments, that's fine. We're definitely open to peeling the onion and discussing the topics. Just give me a chance to explain my side and be fair to other people in the group and listen. Can't talk, a little tongue tied, and just be fair to other people in the group. All right. I really do appreciate you guys being here. Probably said it 3,000 times already. This concept has kind of made me nervous for a while. I thought I had a hold on it. I thought I understood it really well. Then I started doing application questions, and it was, ooh, maybe I don't understand it as well as I thought that I did. Um, and I think the big thing for me when I was preparing for this and last week studying with Shruti, which was amazing, by the way, I didn't get a chance to save the recording because, like I said, I tried. My computer froze halfway in, so I lost the recording. But it is probably somewhere on Facebook Live recorded in the Rockin' Study group. So, but it was really, really good. The big thing that helped me last week, and I really want to point that out this week to you guys, is formal similarity and point-to-point correspondence. Those were my light bulb moments. Can anybody in the chat tell me what is formal similarity? Just go ahead and get it rolling. What is formal similarity? You could type it in, you can say it out loud. I just want to know, what do y'all think formal similarity is? Yeah, good answer. Great answer. It's basically the same sense mode. Now, when we're right, so if we're going to have a physical response, we're going to have a physical response. Whatever's coming out, going to be received. So, for example, if I say the word car, then the listener will say car. If I write the word car, the listener is going to write the word car. It's really, really important we think about that formal similarity. It's going to pop up tomorrow night when we do modeling and imitation. Let's go to point-to-point correspondence. What does point-to-point correspondence mean? Now we know we're going to have same sense mode on some, but what's point-to-point correspondence mean? You guys are doing great. Yes. Yes. Great answers. Has the same beginning, middle, and end. We learned last week with Shruti, and she had an excellent point. If I say I and the learner has signs the I, we don't really have a lot of point-to-point correspondence there. It's great with words, like because words have different parts to them. When we start, it's really important to really kind of break it down, point-to-point correspondence and formal similarity, because what really kind of got me, and I think it still gets a lot of you guys are those pesky interverbals. They don't have formal similarity, and they really don't have point-to-point correspondence. So it's really important to remember that. If I'm saying the word car, on the other end, if it's in a different language or it's signed, that's not point-to-point correspondence. Signing and saying are two different things. We're definitely not going to have beginning, middle, and end because one is said and one signed. So just keep those in mind because that really kind of helped me go into their night, and I thought I'd get this Zoom going, just kind of remembering those two things and kind of keep it going for us on the back end. According to chapter 19, it started off with, of course, the illustrious B.F. Skinner and his views on verbal behavior. Verbal behavior was written by Skinner in 1957 and suggested two general functional classes, verbal behavior and verbal operant. Now, if you haven't heard, Skinner got into a really long, tenuous, like years of debate with Chomsky. Chomsky was a linguist, I can't say the word, and he was determined, on the speech side of things, how we do verbal behavior versus Skinner on the behavioral side of it. There's a really cool video on YouTube we watched for my course study, and I definitely recommend it. It's pretty cool. Nonetheless, verbal behavior is mediated by the behavior of others. He proposed that verbal behavior is learned, increased in quantity and breadth, and is maintained the same way as nonverbal behavior. Then he said verbal operants is a single instance learned of verbal behavior, such as saying hi or how are you. Basically, what we say, what we do is mediated by behavior of other people. That makes a lot of sense. What we say, there's a reason why we're saying it. It's based off other people's behaviors. Skinner also distinguished between speaker and listener verbal operants. Those two distinct classes are really important. We have the speaker and we have the listener. Skinner also identified 4 controlling antecedent variables of verbal behavior. Some state of deprivation or aversive stimulation, some aspect of the environment, other verbal behavior, or one's own verbal behavior. Those are really key when you start thinking about the verbal operants and how they kind of play in there. Skinner identified 2 consequence conditions, something related to the state of deprivation or reverse stimulation, or social consequences. Social consequences, it does play a key into a lot of conditions. All right, he also said that you should recognize that we treat words in terms of their function, not their topography. In behavior analysis, we're worried about what's that word's function, not necessarily its makeup. So saying a word like water can serve multiple functions, assuming that appropriate reinforcement contingencies are in place. I thought that Mayer put this as a great example, and I definitely wanted to share it because it just shows the different verbal operants that just one word, water, can play a part with. You can request a drink of water and it becomes a demand. If you just point to a glass of water or you say the word water and you don't receive any water, guess what? It's attacked. It was that pointing was a nonverbal stimulus, and that requesting a drink had an MO that Deprivation, we wanted that water. That's what started it. And then it finished off with getting that specific reinforcer, that glass of water. Describing the action as someone watering a plant. He's watering a plant. Tags do not just have to be single words. It could be describing an action. It's labeling. It's nonverbal. I start confusing myself here. Repeating water when mom asked, do you want water? So if mom says water and I repeat the word water, now I have an echoic. Answering what is agua in English is it interverbal. Well, hold on here. Water and English, water and agua are the same thing. That should be point to point. No, agua and water are two different words. It's have the same meaning in two different languages. That's where your sign language and your foreign languages are interverbals. For they may mean the same, but they're two different words. I have that point-to-point correspondence. Definitely won't. You won't have that formal. Can't talk. You definitely won't have that formal similarity as well. So this is kind of neat. Looking at just that water, you could also keep expanding it for textual. You see the word water, and you say the word. You could also go transcription. I say the word water and someone writes down the word water. So you can keep going a long way, but this is pretty cool. All right. Now, if you don't have this, I recommend you do get it. I was really, really motivated after seeing Shrudi's chart and seeing the chart in the Cooper. It's in, I can't remember. It's in the Cooper chapter. It's a lot like this. It's a lot like this. I can't remember. I think it's 19 or 18, something like that. Don't quote me exactly, but it's in the Cooper, and they have a chart, a flow chart that really kind of points it out. And when Shrudi said this, and then when Celia kind of pointed it out, it really makes sense to me. So when I got my chance to share verbal behavior, I really wanted to have a flow chart to help you guys. If I haven't put the PowerPoint up yet, I think I did. I messed up on one slide, and I fixed it for tonight. But on this slide, really is a lifesaver. It's a game changer. It really is, because it helps you out on every part of the game. So a man has a motivating operation. That's its antecedent. That's what sparks a man, is that motivating operation. Deprivation, satiation, there's a motivating operation that kicks off a man. And then a man ends with a specific consequence. I'm getting what I asked for. I'm getting what I demanded. I'm getting what I commanded. I'm getting that at the end of it. Attacked is always tied to a non-verbal stimulus. I don't say it out loud, but it will help. Non-verbal stimulus. So just kind of a quick review right now. MO is with tact, and MO is with manned, and nonverbal is with tact. Now we slide over to where a lot of action is. Now we have our verbal stimulus. Now we don't have point-to-point correspondence, and then we don't have formal similarity, obviously, because it doesn't even come up there. That's your interverbals. Your interverbal doesn't have your beginning, middle, and end. There's no same sense mode. That's why you really need to be careful with a lot of those application questions. Shruti had some beautiful ones that she wrote that really helped me kind of bring it home. She had some in her Kahoots that she had a while back that really helped also. Just because they're the same, you got to start to really kind of peel that onion, that question. Is it the same? Is there the same sense mode? Formal similarity? Is there point-to-point correspondence? Because if you don't have those things, it's an interverbal. A lot of times we think of interverbal, we think of fill in the blank. That's how I thought when I did my coursework. Mary had a little where you sing a song and you want the other person to fill in the blank. But I think when you see more examples, there's more to it than that. Antecedent, verbal stimulus, no point-to-point correspondence, no formal similarity, and we have our interverbal. And then now we have point-to-point, and it separates. If I have formal similarity and I have point-to-point, we have our duplics. They duplicate. We're duplicating saying a word, a echoic. We're duplicating copying a text. We're duplicating motor imitation. On the flip side, we have point-to-point, don't have formal similarity. Now we have our codec. Textual. I see the word, now I'm writing it. I hear the word, now I'm writing it. There's no same sense mode. This chart is amazing, and it's helped me out a ton in the last week. All right, so I'm just going to kind of review through these guys. I pretty much kind of walked everybody through what's happening, because that flow chart is absolutely amazing. But a duplicate, like I said, the best way to help me remember it, I hope it helps you remember it, think of duplication. I'm duplicating. If I write it, it's written. If I say it, I said it, it's said again. If it's whatever, it's duplicated. So if it's duplicated, it's going to have point-to-point, and it's going to have formal similarity. It's also sparked off by that verbal stimulus. Verbal stimulus is our antecedent condition as well. It's a situation in which the response form is controlled by a verbal stimulus, and the response product has formal similarity to the controlling stimulus. And then here's our descriptions of, which I pretty much have already said. Here's some examples and pictures, kind of help you kind of see it a little bit. I like visuals. This woman in the left is giving sign language. Now, if we say the word banana and she signs the word banana, it's an interverbal. But if I sign the word banana to her and she signs the word banana back, you duplicated that action, it's imitative responding. The next one is, if you can tell by looking at it, the word is in the box and we're just copying that text. We're copying sight words. Remember when we were kids and we copied our spelling words? We were doing duplicate. We were copying a text. Am I going too fast, too slow? Just want to check. Am I making it easy to understand or difficult? Check it on everybody real fast. Yes, thanks for the page numbers. All right. I really had fun with this last example because it really kind of helped me with the echoic. A parrot. When you say a word to a parrot, doesn't he repeat you? So that's a great way to think of echoic. Probably want a cracker, probably want a cracker. There's that echoing with the parrot, and it's just it's hilarious. I've also seen it with several of my clients who are still working on developing that verbal communication part. They have some word approximations, but they listen, they hear that last word or phrase, and they repeat it. Well, if they're repeating it, they're being echoic. But a parrot is a great example. All right. Still on the verbal side, we still have a verbal stimulus. That's our antecedent control. And now we have, it looks like we don't have formal similarity. Like I said before, we see the word, then we say the word. We hear the word, then we write the word. So we're going to have point-to-point correspondence. We're going to have that word. We're going to hear it, both hear it or see it and hear it. But we're not going to have the same sense mode. Everyone's favorite example for transcription is the court reporter. She hears it, she writes it. And then we have a teacher in class, or that favorite read aloud activity we all do. That's textual. See the word, we're saying the word. I think even direct instruction, when I did it in 3rd grade, we had a textual component. We'd see words and we'd say words with corresponding. All right. Now we have everyone's favorite. Well, it seems most popular because everyone's always focused on man training. I know it's that way with us where I'm at. But demand, can anybody remember? Thank you. All right. Before I get going on this one, can anybody help me out in the chat or say it out loud? What's the antecedent condition for a man? You can even cheat on the screen if you want to. What's the antecedent for a man?
MO.
Yes, MO. There has to be in it. Now, in some questions we kind of have a hard time seeing it. You know, we're trying to, well, is that person thirsty? Is that person hungry? Is that person this? But here's the kicker when it comes to a man. Once the child, of course, our MO is the child is hungry, or for this example, the child is hungry. She says cookie, and then she receives the cookie. Is that consequence specific or is it general?
Specific.
Yes, because she got that cookie she was asking for. She demanded, she asked, whatever you want to call it, that specific cookie, and she got it. Now, we don't want to just always think that mands are strictly questions. They can be commands, they can be demands, they can be questions. I don't want to say Skinner, but on page, whoever posted the Cooper question, the Cooper page number for the new one, 426, in that same neighborhood, there's a chart, and I put a question on Rockin' last week of how many different types of mans there are. There's like 9 of them. It's pretty crazy. It's like questions, commands, demands. The list goes on. A lot more than what we thought it was, or maybe what we all assume it is, based on how we're always driving that question part of it. I thought it was really interesting. Sorry, my chair is squeaking really bad. All right. Now, as I said before, a man is a verbal operant. We all said it's controlled under deprivation or versus stimulation, that MO. It also includes gestures such as pointing. Now, pointing can be attacked, but if I get that object in return, that specific reinforcement, it becomes a man. Skinner saying it could also be facial expressions to show eager anticipation. Well, the things about formal sign language and text with picture changes or communication devices, remember, there's an MO leading up to it, and we're getting specific reinforcement at the end. If we're not having those two things involved, it's not a man. I'm having a lot of fun with the pictures. Every week I have more and more fun with pictures, trying to find examples to bring it home. Attacked is a non-verbal stimulus. Starts off the non-verbal. We see the football. We see the whatever in the room. And then we're like, oh, football. And we get a generalized reinforcer because I can't say not all the time. We're not going to get the football. We're going to get, yeah, you're right. It's a football. Good job. We labeled that object that we saw. It's in the room. These questions started kind of getting me on a couple of mock tests. I'm like, man, that's got to be a tact. He's stating something in the environment. And then I got to like be careful if it might be a man. If there's food involved, or he's wanting something, or asking about something, or talking about something, and he gets that specific reinforcer. Well, if he doesn't get that specific reinforcer, it's a tact. There's no formal similarity. He may say ball, but they're not going to say that same thing in return. There's no, or they may just, or he may just point, but there's no, my point is there's no formal similarity, there's no sense mode. There's no point-to-point correspondence. Because he says football doesn't mean the listener is going to say football in return. Tacting designates saying a word in the presence of an object, an event, or a feature of an abstract stimulus class. Tacting involves naming or labeling an object, action, don't forget action, abstraction, or private event that is currently present or being experienced. So it doesn't always have to be an object. It could be those other things as well. Interverbal, the one that I know kind of hits people up still, because interverbal to me has always been kind of that fill in the blank. Mary had a little, or twinkle twinkle little. You could do, and it's not just there. It could also be social interactions. I say thank you, and you say you're welcome. It could also be opposites. It could be hot, or it could be cold. Translations from one language to another. Well, we're going to have translations because there's no point-to-point correspondence, and there's no formal similarity. Answering questions as "What's for dinner?" with the response of "When dinner will be." The translations is really important because there are questions. I posted a couple. Shruti had several where I say banana, someone signs banana. Well, the word banana is happening twice, but it's not happening in the same sense mode, and it's definitely not having point correspondence. If I go to a foreign country and I say the word car, and someone says to me in their respective language, that's the same thing happening. There is no point to point, and there is no formal similarity. Interverbal is controlled by a verbal antecedent stimulus, like we said before, without point to point, without formal similarity. And it's reinforced by non-specific reinforcers. Generalized reinforcement. All right, how am I doing so far? A lot of content in a short amount of time. How are we all doing?
Good.
On to our seats a little bit, because it's going to be kind of, that's a lot of information.
You're doing as wonderful as usual, Patrick. We all appreciate you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Let's see where I'm at now. All right. Autoclitic. This one kind of shakes me up still a little bit, so don't hold me too hard on this one. Hold on, everybody. Sorry. Sorry about that, guys. I texted a while back and you finally had a chance to call me. All right, we're about ready to wrap it up. Not a whole lot left. Okay. All right, autoclitic. Like I said, this is the one that kind of keeps me on my toes a little bit. It's a form of verbal behavior that modifies other forms of verbal behavior. For example, don't look now, but I think I see Grant with a new girlfriend. Autoclitic involves verbal responses for which the functional properties of the speaker's ongoing verbal behavior provide the SD, such as who is she? I know a lot of times they go with interverbals, mans, and tax. Those are the three that autoclitics are tied up to. According to Cooper, on page 433, two systems of responses is one based upon the other. There's the upper level can be only understood in terms of its relation to the lower level, and the upper level may be described as a speaker's verbal behavior about their own lower level verbal behavior. It's a lot, but then he also put this after that and said autoclitic behavior is helpful to listeners who may prompt a speaker to identify the sources of control for what she says, as in, did you test the ice? The response tells the listener more than just the primary response on its own, and the listener reinforces speakers with this extra information. In that example, there's extra information involved. I always think of autoclitic man as you don't exactly ask if your husband's going to or your wife's going to Walmart, you kind of imply it. But like I said, I'm still kind of working on this concept. That's why I put the definitions in there. I'm a little rocky on autoclitic. I thought I was, but I'm kind of rocky on that one. All right. And that's all I have. Pretty short, pretty sweet. I posted this on the Rockin' site. I really suggest you go to Cooper and you find that chart, or you could go to Rockin' and find my chart. The chart really helps break down verbal behavior. When Penny said it and Shruti said it, it makes sense on why it does it. Tomorrow night, I'm gonna host a Cooper book study. I'm kind of sticking with the theme of task list D right now. That's why I'm going to look at modeling and imitation. You notice I had a ton of questions yesterday on Facebook because these two concepts. That's the big reason why. Tomorrow night we're gonna dive into modeling and imitation and discuss a little bit about imitation training. I'll post a link on both events so everyone has a chance to go. Same thing, Facebook Live, YouTube, all that good stuff. But I really do appreciate y'all coming. Thank you so much for taking time out of your studying time to hang out with me. And I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.